Alright, in this tutorial we're going to be doing our stop motion videos based off of the photos we've been taking and the frames we've been taking. Your first step is you're going to create two folders. You can do this by holding down Control and clicking on the desktop and then clicking New Folder. The first folder you're going to name Unedited. You can name it by holding down Control and clicking on the folder and then press Rename. And we'll name it Unedited, and we'll do the same for the next one, but we will name this one Lightroom or LR Edited. The next step is going to be adding all of our photos to this unedited folder. So we'll go into our SD card, find all those photos, select them all, and then you can drag them into the unedited folder. This is just so we have it organized so that when we're in Lightroom and when we're in Photoshop later, everything's organized and we know where everything is. Once you've added them to your unedited folder, go ahead and open up Lightroom, and you're going to import all your photos to Lightroom. You can do this by going to the bottom left corner, click Import. You're then going to find your desktop. You can find your desktop by clicking on Macintosh, Users, find your username, go into Desktop, and then find that unedited folder. Once you've opened your unedited folder, make sure they're all checked. If they were unchecked originally, you can click Check All. If you don't want some of the images in, you can just click on each individual image so that you know what photos are getting put in and what photos aren't. Once you have all your images that you want, click on Import, and that will then bring them all into Photoshop for you, or into Lightroom for you. So in Lightroom, what we're going to do is we're going to work with the settings, and we're going to edit each photo. We can do this a really easy way by just editing one photo. So if we go into Develop, if we click on our first image, we're going to edit just this image, and then we're going to copy all of the edits we've done onto all of our photos and sync all of those edits. So for this photo, it's a little bit underexposed. It's a little dark, so I'm going to increase the exposure. I'm going to increase the contrast because it's a lot of whites and blacks colors on here. And I might increase the saturation just to kind of get some color on there. Once I've edited this photo, you'll see that the difference between this first photo and this second photo, one's a little lighter, one's a little darker. But what I want is I want the settings from this first photo on all of my images. So I can do that by hitting Command A, which will select all the images on the bottom. You can then click Sync. Make sure that every check mark is checked, and then click on Synchronize. If you look in your film strip at the bottom, slowly every image is going to get those same settings so that they'll all match and our lighting won't be bouncing around when we add them all to a video. Once you have all your images synced, go back to Library, click on Export. We're then going to choose Specific Folder. We're going to choose our specific folder, which is going to be the Lightroom edited, now that we've edited them in Lightroom and they're good to go. So we'll click Choose, double check everything, and then Export. And we'll see in the top left all of our files are exporting. It usually takes a couple minutes. While they're exporting, go ahead and open up Photoshop. In Photoshop, the first step is going to the first step you're going to do is trying to find out the size of your images. To do that, all you need to do is open one of the images that we just edited, which would be in the Lightroom edited folder. We can just open up one of those guys. All right, and once we're in Photoshop, now it's going to be where we try and find the size of this image. To do that, you're going to go to the top toolbar, click on Image, Image Size, write down what size it is. So I have 8.0 and 5.4 with a resolution of 240. So you're copying down the width, the height, resolution, make sure you're in inches, then hit OK. Now we're going to make our workspace. To make our workspace, click File, New. And then we're going to plug in those dimensions right over here. So make sure you're in inches. I had 8, 5.4, resolution as 240, create. Okay, so now we're going to be adding our media. So to do our media, make sure that first your timeline option is checked right here. If it's not checked, just go ahead and click on it and it will get checked, just like that, which will bring down this little toolbox down here. So this little toolbox is going to be how we edit our video and how we edit our timeline. Since we haven't done one yet, we can click Create Video Timeline. We can then add our media using this film strip and arrow. So click on the arrow, add media, and we're going to bring in all of those files from our Lightroom edited folder. So find that Lightroom edited folder, click on your first file, hold down Shift, click on your last file, go ahead and open those up. This might take a few minutes just because there's a lot of files that it's processing. It's trying to figure out all the edits from Lightroom, and it's trying to keep them all in order at the same time. So this might take a minute or two. Alright, so now down at the bottom where our film strip is, we have all of our images that we just imported. Right now these are 5 seconds each, which is going to be a really long, slow video. So we need to change how long each photo will be on there. I'm just going to make my window a little smaller. So to do so, you're going to click on these 3 little squares in the bottom left corner, which will open up our timing. So our timing right now for each one of these is at 5 seconds, and we want it to be a lot shorter. So to do that, first thing I'm going to have you guys do is click on your first frame. Use this little scroll bar to scroll all the way to the end. Hold down Shift, click on that last frame. This step is going to save you guys tons of time. Next, you're going to change the settings. So click where it says 5 seconds. You're going to change it to 0.2. And that will change every single frame so that it has the same timing so that you don't have to go in individually changing each one. And then once that's done, go ahead and play your video by clicking the play button. And let's see how they look. Alright, once you like it, you think it's good, we're going to export it as a video file. To do that, click File, Export, go down to where it says Render Video. And after we do this, it's going to be kind of the same as we've been doing. So the next is we're going to name it So I'm going to name Race Scene Stop Motion. I'm going to pick a folder. I'm just going to send mine straight to my desktop so I know where it is. And then the next step is changing 30 frames per second to 15 frames per second. And then render. Now once you click render, it will take a few minutes. Again, this is a huge file. There's 40-something pictures. Each picture is a big file also. So this process is going to take a few minutes, but just sit tight. Once it's done, you'll find your video either on your desktop or wherever you sent it to, and make sure you submit that to Google Classroom. Good luck.